What up, it's Dom. I'm coming to you live from sunny Southern California here in Vista. I just wanted to make a video on the subject of mental health. For those of you that know me, you know it's been a really big deal, a really big conversation for the last 3 years. And for those of you who don't know me at all, this is kind of a jump into a little bit of my story, a little bit of my life. And why I'm so passionate about having this conversation about mental health. Mental health is one of the most taboo subjects out there. We love to talk about our physical health. We love to talk about diet, exercise, and working out, and all that stuff's really good. We see a lot of that. Don't get me wrong. Diet and exercise are huge influences on how your mind operates. But there's a whole nother aspect of mental health and the conversation of mental health that never gets addressed. And it goes so far beyond I'm feeling happy or I'm feeling sad. A lot of times it's connected to brain chemistry, which can be affected by your diet and exercise, trauma from the past, any sort of experience from family members, even just an event that happened, the circumstances that you're currently in. All these things are factors in that. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background, a story about what I struggle with. I was clinically diagnosed by a psychiatrist with bipolar or manic depressive back in 2014. I was living in Boise, Idaho at the time. I moved out there to make music with one of my homies, Alex, and I was dating this girl, got serious, we were engaged, and then after we broke it off, I kind of hit rock bottom. So through this whole painful process of breaking up, I sought a psychiatrist. I decided that I needed to see someone and talk about things, and that possibly it could be deeper than just the trauma and the pain of breaking up. I had gotten to the point in my life where I was just like, I just didn't want to be alive. I don't think I could ever have the guts to kill myself and end my own life, but like if I walked out in front of a bus and got hit and didn't wake up, like I wouldn't care. But I was just desperate. I was like, I need something. This psychiatrist prescribed me a super low dosage of a medicine called Lamictal. And this is a really big deal for me because I was super against brain chemical type medicine. I just didn't like the idea of it. In high school, I went to see a doctor about being depressed, and he was basically like, yeah, you can take this, but it'll basically eliminate any form of your personality. He made it sound like if I took this depression medication, I was going to become a zombie. So I got the prescription filled, but then I was like, nah, and I dumped it all down the toilet because that didn't sound cool to me. I'd rather feel insane amount of pain than feel nothing at all. So Lamictal or lamotrigine is essentially a mood stabilizer. I am no doctor, no expert, no psychiatrist. I'm just going off of the information that I have read and what I've been told by the psychiatrist. What it has done for me has really helped even out some of the mood swings so they're not as drastic, so that my highs and lows aren't so extreme that I can't function. I wanted someone that believed that healing is holistic, that it is spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. Someone that wasn't just gonna try to give me a pill and say, here, you're better, take this, you'll be fine, because that rarely works. It's really only just Western society that loves to separate those aspects of life. If you look at a lot of Eastern thought, you can't disconnect spiritual from mental, from physical, from emotional. They're all intertwined. And I wanted someone that really believed that and that would approach psychiatry in the same way. So in addition to taking the medication, I began what was called cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and I had this really dope book called Mind Over Mood. And I won't get huge into cognitive behavioral therapy, but it's essentially transforming your mind away from unhealthy thought patterns that lead you to feel a certain way. It's super dope. I recommend you check it out. Even if you're just slightly interested, read up on it. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Yes, I could take this pill and it would help improve things. It would help improve the brain chemistry, but I needed to become mentally stronger through behavioral therapy. Be aware of the fact that I was gonna face emotional challenges, spiritual challenges, and attacks. And so for me, it was very important that I had a psychiatrist that was on the same page about that. My daily battles have little to do with the circumstances around me, but have so much more to do with the mental and spiritual nature. If you don't know much about bipolar, just a very, very brief description. It's the same thing as manic depressive. In some moments you have manic episodes where you're at the top of the world, you're untouchable, you're irresponsible, and then you have these depressive moments where you feel worthless and depressed, you don't eat or you eat too much, you're at the bottom of the barrel, and then you will swing back up to having this manic moment where you do something that is very much not like your personality, and then you're back down here. So it's really just like an exaggerated roller coaster. When I had found out that I had bipolar, it was like a weight off of my chest, because it was a name and a face to the things that I had struggled with for so many years. Identifying the problem is half the process, because at that point I didn't really want to be alive. I was just sick of being sick, tired of being tired. And this isn't something that just like happened out of nowhere. I had struggled with being depressed and then being on these highs. I had struggled with it since, I want to say, about junior high. And so it wasn't like this out of nowhere kind of thing. It really made so many of my decisions make sense. Throughout middle school and high school, I was more emotional than the average guy. Well, at least my swings of emotions were more than the average guy. And I believe part of that is due to the fact that I was created to be an artist. An artist needs to feel. An artist needs to be sensitive to what's going on around them. An artist needs to feel things, feel the pain of others, feel the circumstances, feel the situations, feel the beauty, feel the joy, feel the whatever, fill in the blank. To feel all these things in order to respond creatively. But it got to the point where regular life wasn't really possible. I couldn't handle the responsibilities of everyday life. One of my first jobs in high school, I just quit by not showing up. And you guys may think, it sounds like it's not a big deal. And yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but that type of I'm on top of the world, manic irresponsibility has happened in other scenarios that were more serious. I was very impulsive, very, very impulsive. And being impulsive for me had very little to do with being an artist. I just knew something was wrong. I felt really extra broken and frustrated because I didn't know how to fix it. It's crazy. If you look at my art from that period of time, from high school through college, it's crazy, extremely depressing stuff. I would say the artwork that I created during that period of time accurately reflects the pain and the confusion that I was going through. As I moved through college and I was trying to balance relationships and homework and classes and everything else, it was really, really difficult for me. I would be fine, and then I would have a week where I just didn't want to be alive at all. And then I would go fine for another week, and then the next week I would wild out. I would act all crazy, like money ain't a thing. One time I went and I bought myself a whole bunch of new clothes, and then I realized I didn't have the money for it, and then I went back to the store and returned it the next day. After I had come down from this manic moment, I realized that I need to be responsible. I'm thankful that my manic moments haven't been so out of control that it has led me to do really, really painful things. I haven't visited jail yet, so that's pretty dope. But on the depressive side, I have felt stuck. I felt like I've been on a hamster wheel since 7th grade. Just stuck. I would make a little bit of progress and feeling like things are okay, my life is going somewhere positive, and then back to the same old thing again, and then back to the same old thing again. Flash forward, it's 2017. Here I am living in Vista, California, in the San Diego area, and I feel like I found myself stuck in another rut. I feel like here I am again, spinning circles, hamster wheel, I'm not really moving anywhere. But that's absolutely not true. In the past 3 years, I have learned and grown so much, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I really feel like I'm on the edge of a new chapter, a new exciting thing in my life. I still wake up, I still have days, weeks where I don't want to be alive. I struggle with my value, my self-worth, just overall depression. I struggle with these things still. And this is a very taboo subject because anytime we say the word mental health, people automatically associate you with being a crazy or a psycho, or that person has to be locked up, or you got issues, or yeah, whatever. Everybody has issues. Everybody has issues they need to address. There are very few people that haven't experienced a deep trauma in a serious way. There are a lot of people who like to shy away from the subject of mental health because of the taboo that comes with it. It's a topic people don't like to discuss because they're scared of what other people may think of them. I've had a lot of opinions thrown my way about me and my mental health and my journey through all of this. A lot of people telling me, oh, you're just being overly sensitive, you're just a baby, you're just soft, whatever. Reality is, so many people have problems that they aren't willing to address, and that's the biggest part, is just, in order to heal, you need to be vulnerable. And so the reason most people don't like talking about it is because they don't want to be vulnerable in front of anyone. They don't want to address or even say that they had a problem, or that there was a traumatic event that happened to them when they were younger, or last year, or is still happening. The things I hear a lot of time are, you're just too emotional, you're just too sensitive, and especially from older generations, I hear things like, well, we didn't have all this talk about feelings when we were younger, and we didn't have all these psychiatrists and all this stuff, we just dealt with it. And yeah, people dealt with it, but they dealt with it through alcoholism, abusing others, overeating, name it, whatever, you name it. Or they just killed themselves. So I really have an issue with the whole deal with it phrase. The only real way to deal with it is to talk to someone about it. Talk to someone that understands the mind far better than you do, and that understands psychiatry, psychology way better than you do. Because there are generations that just dealt with it in the wrong way. They never dealt with it in a healthy way. So yeah, I don't have answers to everything. I'm still learning, understanding my problem, understanding how I process things, understanding the medication, understanding how important it is to eat healthy and to exercise have really changed my life. I'm not always great at those things. Every now and then, a negative, awful thought about myself sneaks into my head. I eat some junk food. I don't go exercise. What I'm learning is it's really all about taking care of yourself, and that's not being selfish. Selfishness does exist, but taking care of yourself and making sure that you're healthy is not the same as being selfish, and that's facts. You can't love anyone else unless you love yourself first. That's a lesson I'm learning. It's been a tough lesson, a good lesson. So I really want to hear from you guys. I want to know who's out there. I want people to be brave and bold and to be able to talk about their mental health issues just as much as they talk about, oh, I don't want to eat that donut because it's bad for me. People need to protect their mental health by addressing it. Talk about it, start a conversation about it. I've probably been talking about it a little too much lately, but it's something I'm very passionate about. It's something that I believe is so important to talk about because I don't want to see another one of my students kill themselves. I don't want to kill myself. I want every single person to see their value. I want them to be able to identify painful events and problems in the past, and I want them to be able to handle it in a healthy way, to deal with it in a healthy way. So let this be a conversation. I want to hear from you guys. Maybe you're a psychiatrist of 30 years, or maybe you're just someone that feels stuck. Leave comments, subscribe, keep following. I know I haven't been super consistent with the vlog thing, but there are good things to come.